From the court to the world of wealth, WNBA star Natalie Novosel opens up about the money lessons she learned the hard way and the wake-up call that changed everything.
What's up, Nat? How you doing?
What's up, Dr. Cal? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to spend a little time with my sister from another mother. Um, your brother Nate is literally like a brother to me, so I appreciate you coming and hanging out. So I'm gonna jump into it. But before we delve into, the WNBA and all of the great things you've done there, um, let's kind of talk about your investment and financial journey. So, like, talk to me about what it was like being a WNBA player. Well, being a college student, really, prior to NIL, because we know they all get paid a lot of money now. But what was that kind of like? And then we'll transition into the WNBA.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So it's so funny to me because I don't know where it was in me when it came to saving money, but I hold the record still at Notre Dame for the most amount of per diem saved on the card. I don't think I ever used the card, and I walked out of Notre Dame with like 10 grand. I'm not even.
What? And you got to take the money?
I took the money. That's right. Yeah.
As long as you got the money.
Right. And I didn't spend I used every single meal in the dining hall. I was never out using money. I don't know where that like saving came from, because why I say that is because when I went to, I guess when I got out of college and playing pro overseas in Australia and in the WNBA, it was more money than I was used to. So I just started hoarding more money in my bank account, right? And that's what I did. Just hoarding it there. And then, but when I got, I don't know, overseas and I realized like I found my little bit more of a fashion sense, like started to use my money in that regard, I just like continued to spend. And every time I would like tear another ACL, I wasn't working for like 12 to 18 months but I was still
Oh,
spend, right? So
nice. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the worst problem to have other than saving money. So
yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah. So
Definitely
like
work.
what surprised you about being, in the WA when it comes to the financial aspects of it?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me, so it's more money than most of us are used to in a short amount of time.
Mhm.
Um, on top of that, because you've got everything else paid for. So you're really just getting money every couple of weeks. And I remember them in the draft, we had like a few of us were invited for draft week. And I just the only thing I remember, it was like 3 days long, but they talked about us extensively about a 25% match of a 401k program. And I
Oh,
remember not knowing or understanding what it was. And so I didn't do it. And that's what I
right.
did, hoarding that away, right? So it
Yeah.
wasn't really nothing was really explained to me in that regard. There were resources, but I was still so focused on basketball. I didn't take advantage of them, I think, at that time. So I wish I had, like had some people around me to be like, hey, do this, do this, do this.
Mhm.
And like I said, it was just and probably to even nowadays you can see like with the tunnel fit and stuff like that. So it wasn't exactly as fashion forward as it is now essentially, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was more of a spending culture, I would say, for sure.
Okay. So many athletes talk about the moment they realized that they did need to think beyond their playing career. What was that moment like for you, and when did it happen?
Yeah, it happened I remember two specific instances. One, when I hurt myself my first time, I tore my first ACL at 24. Um and I
Mhm.
remember me and my called my dad. I was in Australia at the time. I called my parents to tell them. My dad said, "Okay, well, what job are you gonna get now?" And like me not even thinking my career was over. I was
Not
gonna,
even thinking, yeah.
that's not even remotely close to that. And so I remember getting in that year, I got my started on my master's. It was in nutrition science, and I'm so glad I didn't finish it. 7 out of 10 classes left because I knew it wasn't something I wanted to do. They were teaching me to be
Right.
a teacher rather than teaching me what I actually wanted to learn. So I quit that. I'm grateful for that.
Mhm.
But the second time was when my twin brother Nathan actually sat me down and said, "Hey, I know you're not doing anything with your finances. Take a listen. I trust these guys. And I sat down and I listened and I like kind of was educated on the rules of money when it came to basketball. I knew those rules, but when it came to life, money, I didn't know anything about that. And so I was super grateful. I kind of
Yeah.
sat down, learned things. I couldn't even believe I didn't know some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing that even to this day, I work with a lot of players that are getting paid NIL. And the first thing that they normally ask me is like, all right, so where do we start on this journey? And I'm like, okay, let me take a look at your budget. And they're like, budget? So not only do they not know anything about money, they don't even have the foundational information to, kind of catapult them to the next level. And so, do you know if they have anything in place now with like the WNBA or finance classes or those kind of things?
So they still have draft week. And I'm so grateful that they do. And so they have different people, experts, resources that do come in, have conversations with them, but it's even more the conversations they have now, as in addition to that, is also branding, like sponsorships, how you can really market yourself to be able to make more of an impact while you have the spotlight on you.
Yeah,
Right. The attention, the money goes where the attention goes. And so that's exactly like they have that now, and that can be gone in the split second. So I think that's important. We're working to partner with the WNBA Players Association. That's such a great resource
mhm.
as well, that really looks out for them. It's majority of it is player led, which is significant.
That's cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
because they're going to listen to somebody that's been there and done it, right?
Yeah. There's nothing
Yeah,
that can replace somebody who's been in their shoes.
right. As a woman in both the professional sports and financial world, what unique challenges have you faced when building your investment portfolio or with business ventures, those kind of things? Do people take you serious, as a former athlete?
Yeah, good question. I've gotten kind of in my experiences, I feel like I've gotten both sides of it. Sometimes
Mhm.
even starting out, they were like, you're a basketball player 5 minutes ago, so there was that sort of it. I always think of it like a doctor, if you're dying, and you have a young doctor, you're not gonna like question the doctor. It's like, no, I just take the help essentially. And so I tried to just and
Right.
listen and learn quickly so that I could have more expertise, have more and gain that respect naturally, and instead of trying to push it. But also, I think some of the things as well is so many things are coming at you, and you
Mhm.
really have to decipher what is in alignment with you and your brand, what you're trying to build. Because it's easy to kind of, hey, this is a shiny object over here, this is a shiny object, and a lot of it sounds good, or they make it sound really good. And so you really have to figure out what's going to be important to you and kind of in alignment with your brand, so
Mhm.
that you can continue with being true a little bit to who you are.
Was there ever a deal offered to you that you turned down because of that?
Yeah. Just a few things that I kind of recall was more so on like the being an ambassador to things for like sometimes I
Mhm.
remember being approached by like a former alum, a guy from Notre Dame, about some different types of things to get involved with, and I'm glad that I did it now. But let's just say that
Mhm.
because it just sometimes if it smells wrong, and if it looks wrong, like maybe it's probably wrong, even though you may trust them and have that credibility. And even just like the other, like not the other day, like a few years ago, like people reach out to you, like asking for different things, and you want to be helpful because you're in a position, to be helpful, but you really kind of got to figure out if you should, honestly.
Yeah, I get it. So when you think back to your WNBA career, is there any advice that you would give to yourself now, knowing, having financial literacy, literally helping people create tax-free retirement accounts, those kind of things? So what would you tell yourself if you could go back?
Oh, that's a really good question. You know what I would do? I would probably do two things significantly different. The first would be when I was like in the spotlight. I remember my teammate
Mhm.
and it was at kind of like towards the end of at Notre Dame, like junior and senior years, when we were really kind of being put on the map. Social media was kind of coming to its own. A couple of our teammates took full advantage of it and was all on social media. Another teammate and I, we like formed a pact We were like, we're not gonna get on
Yeah.
social media.
No social media ever.
What a distraction, never, right? Um, so I probably would have started to develop a brand, document, whatever.
Mhm.
And really started to hone in on that because that obviously into what it's turned into now. And then the second thing would be I would have been more intentional earlier on of looking for solutions, what to do
Mhm.
with funds. I mean, I had, let's be honest, Cal, 6 years probably. Like I said, I hoarded my money in my bank account. Like I did it. I was such a baller. I just wanted to play
Yeah.
ball. I was living in the moment. I was happy to just continue playing, and a paycheck always came in, and I was always, and so and then I think I'd also add another one is the relationships along the way is what's really going to carry you in your life. It doesn't really matter what you accomplish so much. It's really the relationships that you develop in your network, right? Turns into your net worth for a reason.
Right.
Those can really who can become um, business partners. They can become people who open doors for you, or
Mhm.
like a scavenger hunt leads you to the next person. So that's those are the three things that I would tell myself differently to do.
I see you got my man Kobe on your shirt there, and I think about how diverse he was, with some of the things he did. So, what was the biggest financial mistake that you saw your fellow athletes make because you were on the other end of the spectrum, right? You were never spending any money. What were some of those mistakes you saw on the other end of the spectrum?
Yeah, I saw it was a lot of just wasted money, if that makes sense. Like always kind of going out to eat, always maybe going to buy alcohol, or always spending money on clothes and things like that. And there's obviously a time and place for all of that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be all of your funds.
Yeah.
Or I never lived off campus until my last year. Um, and so I didn't have to pay rent ever. That was another thing that I
Mhm.
did. And so I was just kind of strategic with it of just saving money. Like I said, ate at every meal, all like 15 meals that I was given every week, and I would eat at the dining, right? Yeah, and so another thing too, I would say is it's almost like there's so many ways to be able to keep up with. I mean, it's for a cliche for a reason, keeping up with the Joneses, but you don't necessarily have to
Right.
spend money on some of those things. Like especially early on, if I could like tell kids to do it, or even myself, it's if you could delay trying to keep up with your peers sooner, you're going to be in so much
Mhm.
further further than you can ever imagine. And that's just like I said, even just putting a little bit away
Yeah.
sooner.
One of the players, I won't say his name, of course, but one of the players that I worked with when we started doing this, um, he would get about 70 grand a month. And he called me one time and asked to borrow some money. And I said, what me, dude? You make 70 grand a month. And he said, well, my goal is to spend all 70 of it every month. So I'm not really saving any of the money. And I was like, what? Have you not been listening to anything that I'm telling you? Like, whoa, where's yeah. So anyway, you just made me think about that when you said that. So that leads me into like mental health and money. So athletes can tie their identity to their sports. So how did you navigate the psychological transition from defining success through athletic performance to where you are now outside of athletics?
Yeah. Oh, I always look at it like there's confidence. There's three different types of confidence. The first is you've got confidence in things. Like if you've got different things, you can have confidence from that. Buying things, keeping up with the Joneses, that kind of thing. The second tier, but those can go away, obviously. The second tier is confidence from, and where I was stuck is confidence came from my ability. I knew I was talented on the
Mhm.
court. Walked on the court, ain't nobody gonna be in my way. You know what I mean? That's just what you kind of you prepare, right? You've done it for so long. And that's kind of where I got stuck a little bit. Because when that was taken away, right? Blew out a knee or two or three, right?
Mm.
Like that was
Yeah.
in the last tier I really have had to develop is like that confidence in who you are. Like
Mhm.
you know that you know that you know that you're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, And that was something that I really had to develop. It's funny because people ask me like, what would you do different in business? And I always go back to, or like what you've learned or something. And I always go back to,
Mhm.
instead of like what I would do different, it's like things I learned as an athlete that I'd actually just didn't apply in business and wish I would have done sooner or differently.
Like what? Give me an example.
An example would be, I mean, I would, um, I mean, I always, one tagline I've always came up with is you can't learn a crossover in a textbook. You got to
Okay.
go out there, you got to feel it out, you got to
Mhm.
continue rep after rep after rep playing against it, right? And I think in that, not that it came natural to me, yes, it did, but sometimes some of the things in business, it didn't naturally come to me, and so I didn't
Mhm.
want to work through that awkward, that mechanical phase to get to the natural, realizing it's the same playbook, right? And so I really
Yeah.
resisted.
Yeah.
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 It's
It's
like,
like if you want to be good at anything, you have to put the work in. And so, yeah, I see what you mean. Like the translation from the court to business. Yeah.
yeah,
Where
I love
you
that.
naturally, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Well,
say
I was
what
just
you were
gonna
gonna say.
say, I love the quote that's like, the way this works is you do the thing you're scared of, like you do the thing you're scared shitless of, and then you get the courage after you do it, not before you do
Right.
it.
Not before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoken like a true financial investor.
You know, Kuth here.
But what I was gonna ask you is oh, I just lost my thought. It'll come back around.
I interrupted you.
Okay. All right. So as we kind of land the plane for today, I always have some rapid fire questions that I like to ask. So I want you to just answer it with the first thing that comes to mind. Don't think about it. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So first question is, what would you have done if you were not a professional basketball player?
I I would have been a soccer player, but now I want to be an inspirational comedian.
An inspirational comedian. How does that work?
That's right. Yeah. So like as I'm building my business, so many funny things happen as an entrepreneur, right? Like it's
Uh-huh.
insane stuff that we go through. And so I don't know if I can just be a comedian. Like all my experiences have come from being an entrepreneur and building something and failing and building and failing and working towards and through that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'd be like more of a little bit of a happier turn instead of like some of the raunchy stuff that you see in the comedian space. But I love that. I love being funny and
Yeah,
humorous
okay.
and lighthearted. So yeah, that's kind of where that comes from.
Gotcha. So you're gonna be like the
Maybe there's
Kevin
still
Hart
chance.
of
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
as long as you're still living, there's always a chance.
That's
All right,
right.
stocks, real estate, or crypto?
What was the first? Oh, real estate.
Stocks, real estate, or crypto?
Real estate.
Real estate, why?
I think it attracts me to being able to build from that. One, I don't know a lot about crypto. And then similar to the stock market, I would much rather source that out or understand it. Like, yeah, I know you do some different things with that, obviously. So I'm like, oh, let me just go talk to Dr. Cal, the expert, right?
Yeah.
Get it straight from the
Save you
source.
some time and go
You
right
know
across
it,
the field.
right? Whereas real
Yeah.
estate, it's interesting to me. I love the finding different things, the deals, but also looking. And so I'm just like constantly looking a little bit on Zillow, just what's around here. Especially in
Mhm.
Austin, it's a cool market. It's from different
It
things.
is.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that side of it for sure.
All right. What was your splurge item, or what is your splurge item?
Whoa. Splurge item, I would probably say, ooh, clothes, fashion. Like, yeah.
So you went from I didn't spend anything on clothes and shoes to now you spend all your money on
I
clothes.
found my
And
fashion sense.
I see your shoe collection, so I know.
Yeah, yeah, I have seen that. That's right. Yeah, you know, we got to take pictures together
Yeah,
because what's going on, you know?
there you go. If you could go back 20 years back, what would you tell yourself to actually read? Like what books, what movie, like what would you say engulf yourself in this?
Books that challenge me, my thinking. because the more I've become a free thinker and critical thinker, the more I realize some of the stuff I'm learning in school, it was almost like being taught to me through a certain perspective and a lens. And I didn't feel like I really came up with my own point of view until I started reading and started getting out into the world and started really like filling my mind with different people's thoughts and different ideas. And I think that really helped me kind of hone in on my point of view and what I'm in alignment with, what I'm trying to do, and have my message out there, right? That would probably be some of the biggest things I would do.
Caitlin Clark or Olivia Miles?
Oh, that's such a tough one because you know what? Well, you know what? Olivia did leave. Olivia Miles did leave Notre Dame. So
Yeah.
maybe, you know what? I will say my favorite NBA player, Steph Curry, even though I've got a Kobe shirt on. Steph Curry. So I am a big fan of Caitlin Clark and what she's done. But I think on top of the shooting, how she sees the floor. I'm such a lover of passing, and so
Yeah.
getting them angles and seeing those, one of my favorite things as a player was always getting that like pass through or something. As an eye for that, I love that.
Yeah, I made a mistake and challenged you and Leslie to a basketball game in Tennessee a few years ago. And I was like, I used to hoop, so let me get out here and see what I can do. Yeah, it's a difference between a professional basketball player and a park player. So I'll leave it at that.
Right.
If you had to take 5 with you to play against the Cynthia Cooper first dynasty in the WNBA, you're one. Who are the other 4 you take with you?
Sure, for sure. Okay. Point guard, I'm gonna take Sue Bird. I'll be the 2. The 3, I'll take probably like a I mean, it'd be cliche to say Diana. I'm gonna say probably a Maya Moore, actually.
Okay.
Maya Moore. And then Tina Charles, it was an absolute beast for me. I thought she was remarkable.
For real.
Naming UConn greats, but that's all right. And then maybe who would we want? I'll take a Ruth Riley, a Notre Dame person. Let's do that.
Okay. All right. I like it. Y'all got a chance.
Right. There we go.
All right. So last thing, how do people follow you? How do they catch up with what you got going on? I know you're very active in the community and the WNBA community as well. So how do they catch up with you?
I love it. Thanks, Dr. Cal. Yeah, absolutely. Majority of people who reach me is probably on social media, Instagram,
Oh, you're
TikTok.
on social media now, huh?
That's right. I know, right? Look at that. Who would have thought? Yeah, took me a minute, but
Yeah.
I'm on there. But it's if not me, then who. So instead of if not me, then who, it's if not me. Gotta throw in the little plug there. But if not me,
Yeah.
then who on social media. Feel free to reach out to me and we can chop it up or connect. Absolutely, I would love to.
That's what's up. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I know you got a busy schedule today, so I'll be down to Austin to see you guys here pretty soon. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dr. Cal.
All right. Peace.